We have unearthed an expert to give us a dissertation on the trouble with the 70s music scene, and my goodness, he should know. Please welcome Master of Arts, Trinity College, Cambridge, Professor Jonathan King.
Basically, what happened to the music in the 70s was that the real talent that had come through in the 60s died off or got married or drugged out or became bored. And the empty space on the charts was filled by the Division 2 talent that had been trying and failing and waiting. Paul Raven, the warm-up man for Ready, Steady, Go in the 60s, became Gary Glitter for the 70s. John's Children, a 60s flock group, turned into T-Rex. A couple of backing musicians for Long John Baldry became Elton John and Rod Stewart. A failed mime artist decided to be David Bowie. And where youthful musical ability and talent had dominated the 60s, marketing men took over the 70s. Chaz Chandler, the bass player with the Animals, magically changed into Chaz Chandler, who marketed and promoted Slade. Mickey Most, a singer from the 60s, produced Mud, Suzi Quatro, Hot Chocolate and others. And best of all, a singer, writer, producer from the 60s who'd had a few hits like Everyone's Gone to the Moon and It's Good News Week, a spotty Cambridge undergraduate, became super marketing man Jonathan King. Not only did I merchandise myself with Una Paloma Blanca and Lucy Love and Sugar Sugar and It's the Same Old Song, do I hear applause? But I built supergroups like the Piglets and St. Cecilia. Remember, leap up and down and wave your knickers in the air? Not to mention Genesis and 10cc and the Bay City Rollers. It's not generally known that their first hit, Keep On Dancing, featured 13 vocals by Jonathan King and only one Bay City Roller. Oh, the 70s were great fun, but glam rock was the product of clever marketing. Then along came punk. A breath of fresh air, the voice of youth, the angry... Delightful, delicious, different, but only the latest Frankenstein creation of us 60s kids. My advice to the young of today is prize our wrinkled, skeletal, bony fingers from around the throats of your enthusiasm and your energy, push us to one side and take over the world of music, because the curse of the 90s and the 80s and the trouble with the 70s was and is domination by the 60s. Thank you.
And he means that most sincerely. Now, Noddy Holder, Slade had a string of hits in the 70s. Do you take what Jonathan says seriously?
Well, Jonathan, as usual, is talking out of his backside, as he always does. Well, what you failed to mention, Jonathan, was you still got to write great songs and make great records, so you're putting down all the people that bought those records.
Oh, no, but they were great records. You made some brilliant records.
You didn't say that, though.
Oh, but there were lots of great records in the 70s, but none of the stars were really huge stars. We've got to admit, no matter how well...
Elton John and Rod Stewart and David Bowie and Led Zeppelin weren't big stars.
Compared to megastars like Paul McCartney, they mean nothing.
Oh, you are ridiculous.
And there were only rejects from the 60s anyway. Be honest.
Get away with it.
Hang on, let's get the other...
And through the 70s, there were a fantastic number of really good records, and punk.
None of Jonathan King's, I may add.
We have a second, but we saw Glenn Matlock on bass guitar. Glenn, what is your answer to what has been said by Jonathan about manufactured music?
Well, I agree with Noddy totally about what Jonathan had to say, but I also agree with Bob here, because to me the 70s can be split into two separate groups, really. There was up to like the mid-70s with all the glam thing, and then the punk thing came along, and we was just trying to get like a back to the 50s almost thing, that the freshness and the energy of rock and roll without all the crap that went with it.
Oh, but come on, Glenn, it wasn't you. You were puppets. Malcolm put the Sex Pistols together. It was great music, brilliant records, terrific display on stage. It all worked wonderfully, but you were just playing the part.
No.
But it was the people from the 60s who were behind it.
Well, what about
no, I
Epstein?
think we used them,
Beatles?
actually,
Epstein was beyond the Beatles. They'd never broken through with that Epstein.
Yeah, but at least he was a 60s person. I mean, the people behind the 60s band were 60s people.
No, the